Board, and we're going to start. So it's right on time. I'm letting everybody in now. It's just you and I speaking, but I'm going to be letting everybody in now. So let's get started. Uh,
Sure, please go ahead.
Welcome everyone. My name is Adam Beebe. We're here for the open house of the website businesswolf.org. We're joined by uh, Prashant, who is the seller. We're also joined by Seswata, who is heavily involved in the site. Thank you both for joining.
Thanks, Adam.
A little housekeeping. The only people who are going to be speaking on the phone is myself, Prashant, and Seswata. Um, as questions come up, other than among the three of us, anyone else, please ask the questions in the chat functionality of the GoToWebinar. Those questions will get answered verbatim. They may not get answered or asked, I should say. They may not get asked the moment that you type it in because we may be in a different section, but all questions will be asked verbatim. We just may be talking about traffic and you have a question on revenue. So that's a little housekeeping right now. What we have here is a large and Prashant and Seswat, I'm going to have to apologize. I was stricken by a cold about 20 hours ago, and I'm doing my best to combat it. So sorry about that. But
No
everyone
problem. No
listening, what
problem.
we have here is accessible to anyone um, who logs on to their Latona's account. This shows the annual revenue, expenses, uniques, and page views, as well as the asking price of $9.35. Once you log into your Latona's account, you can click on, and you can't make it out very well now, but the revenue, expenses, uniques, and page views are in blue. If you click on that blue number, it will show you the it's redundant, the trailing 12 months of all those four points. Um, Great Alexa rating, as you can see, and that's continuing to go down, which obviously everybody know listening, that's of great benefit. Um, Prashant and Saswata, there's going to be two sections of the presentation that you're going to be doing the vast majority of the talking, and that's on the history, and then also those pictures you took of your monitor to show the back end. So what I'll do is I'll put myself on mute from time to time to let you go into both the history and the admin of the site. I'll hold any questions until the end of that section if someone has a question about the history and or admin. But what I'm going to ask you to do right now, and because of software constraints, we have about 45 to 50 minutes. We try to keep these very concise. This is something that anyone who has interest once hearing this, and anyone who's listening to this can sign an NDA with me, and I can send you a prospectus upon the signed NDA. Anyone that has further interest, this open house recording will be on Latona's in 24 hours. We can dig a little bit deeper, but Prashant, we just want the basic facts, not really what the site could do, but what it's achieved since its inception to present day. So if you would, tell me about the history of businesswolf.org, please.
Okay, thanks, Adam. See, to answer this question, what is the issue pain point in society that this website answers? Now, first of all, whoever the buyer is, my advice is don't take this Business Wolf as a website. Take it as an organization. Take it as a structured organization. What I mean is there is a news and there is an underlying cause behind it. For example, we have plethora of news on ISIS. We have plethora of news on internet on ISIS. We have plethora of news. You can just search ISIS and you'll have plethora of news on internet. But none of them clearly answers the formation of ISIS. You see, there are so many terrorist outfit, globally there are so many terrorist organizations. You have Al Qaeda, you have ISIS. There are so many terrorist organizations. But ISIS is one terrorist organization which has the backing of even learned people of certain sects. So what is the news and what is the underlying cause behind them? So we have the news, but the underlying cause is missing. I'll give you another example. You see, in 2008, there was a bomb attack in Bombay. In Mumbai, in India, there was a severe bomb attack where more than 200 people were killed. Now that bomb attack, when I was going through, when I was exploring the dynamics of that bombing, I asked a question to myself, why this timing was selected? Why 2008? Why not 2007? Why not 2009?
Right. Prashant,
And
I'm gonna.
eventually, after a lot of research, I just came across that basically this can be answered. So there
Okay.
is an underlying cause behind the news, and this is what we want to
Well,
answer.
that's
And this is where
that's
Google comes
understood.
in.
So concisely, what you try to do is find the issues behind the news. Right. Go behind the headlights.
Exactly.
That's understood. In
Yes.
interest of time, again, we have 45 minutes here. I'm going to ask just to cover the basic concept of history of the site. Has it always been in the same manifestation? Have you ever done anything differently as it relates to the site? And also talk about your social media presence, please.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just take 2 to 3 minutes to answer these three questions. So first of all, we started with the site. The idea came up in April 2014. We started acting fast, and by August 1st, we rolled on the website. The website was live, and initially it did good. We tried to see how exactly we can market the content, and eventually we saw that social media becomes a very strong platform. And right now, we are having more than 50,000 followers on Facebook, a good 6,000 followers on Twitter, and social media accounts to a very good amount of traffic coming on the website. Yes.
Okay, very good. And as you mentioned, it's above 55,000 now, I'm sure. Well, it's
Yeah.
right at 55,000 as far as followers go. Wayback Machine, this is something that anyone can access, archive.org. Impressions, as anyone is seeing, started mid 2014. Some activity, obviously, in 2015. You do have Google Analytics on the site. There is a lot of traffic that comes in on the site. I know, and this is some of these questions I'm going to ask Prashant and Seswata. I know the answer to, but I'm asking them. I'm either asking them proactively for people or there are questions coming in. So, we can look and, it's demonstrated here. February was a decline. That's due to not much new content. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's perfectly correct. In February, we didn't have content writers, and if you look at the website in February, literally there was not more than 10 posts in the entire month. So
Mm-hmm.
at times, since we didn't have a dedicated cash flow, we were dependent a lot on advertisements. So naturally, many a times, we did have scarcity of content writers. So in the limited boundary conditions we had to work. So therefore, maybe in a couple of months, you may find this issue. But overall, things have been superb. If you have an overall broad look of the Google Analytics, you'll have things very fantastic.
Okay. The main source of traffic is from India, the vast majority, and that's by design. Have you done much to go into other countries?
No, initially we have focused completely on India. So what our objective was that we'll develop it will be something on a pilot style. So it's a prototype which we have established for India. And what I see is that for India, if I continue for the next 1 year, I easily see that this metrics I can take it to 50,000 visitors and 50,000 visitors and 100,000 page views every day. After that, my plan was that we can multiply the same prototype, the same pilot style concept that we have developed. This can be multiplied for other regions. So
Okay.
we wanted to do things on pilot style, and that is the reason we focused on India.
Okay, that's clear. Social media, and this is you've done great with social media. I mean, the eyeballing it, what would that be? The 4.6 to uh, right at 50%.
Approximately 55%, 55 to 58% comes from social media. Yes.
Um, have you done much pay? And so, again, some of these questions coming in. Have you done any paid traffic?
No, not at all. Not at all. We haven't. But yes, we have done content marketing. It's not paid content marketing, but suppose you have a news, you have published a report, say, related to petroleum pricing. So of course, that's a trending topic. At one point of time, it was a trending topic. So we definitely went on different groups on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, on different social media, including Stumble Upon, Dig, Digo, Delicious, and we have posted our content on those groups. Yes, that is what we have done.
Okay. These are the social networks and the corresponding sessions. New users bounce right. Everyone can read that. Twitter. Well, wow, you've got a nice balance here, all in the mid twos.
Exactly. And I would like to just add one thing here for the buyer. I would like to clarify one thing. You see, you see Facebook on the 10th position. Our focus had always been on Twitter, LinkedIn, stumble upon Reddit. In fact, we have always focused a lot on Reddit too. So, our focus were these places because we wanted to keep the website as a place for premium advertisements and sponsorship. I don't want to have $2 or $4 for for a CPM model as such. I wanted to have it as a premium place. I want to have people, suppose for a moment iPhone is going to launch iPhone 7. So for them, Business World should be an ideal place to advertise in India rather than any other digital media website wherein most of the crowd comes from youth. We were, in the age group of 14 to 18 years or maybe 10 years in the college. That is something which we wanted to keep ourselves away. That is the reason we focused on these platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, stumble upon Reddit more compared to the other ones.
Okay. Uh, well, some
If you
decent
don't mind, Adam, I would like to have one more point too. So this itself says that right now Facebook is the biggest social media, and we have worked maybe less than 1% on it. So obviously the buyer has immense room to multiply this traffic, taking the fact that he can definitely explore much more possibilities on Facebook. Yes.
All right.
I'd like to make one point over here.
Sure.
Yeah, so if you look at the Facebook, I mean, like so far we've been targeting mostly the yuppies, the young urban professionals who have the paying capacity to afford high value, products so that we can attract high value product advertisers. But at the same time, a buyer would have the room to expand with certain categories in business world, in places like Facebook to target a specific segment of the readers, and he can also have advertisers across segments. So the buyer can actually explore. That is what I'd like to add to what Prashant just mentioned. So Facebook, there is immense room for the next buyer to take business world to Facebook. So far we have been mostly corporate based, so Facebook is a place, I mean, where it can be marketed.
Okay. You have the landing pages where people are spending time on. Anything you want to talk about this?
You see, the bounce rate has been perfect. That is something which explains a lot. You see, pages per session, if you look at the metrics of pages per session, if you break down the metrics month wise, you can see those months wherein we have posted more content, pages per session has been higher. Pages per session at sometimes has been more than 3, at more than 4 also. But generally it has been more than 2 or something around 1.8 to 2. So pages per session is directly, I would like to tell the buyer that it's directly proportional to the amount of content which is put on the website. Average session duration has always been greater than 2 minutes, which is very good. The good thing is that bounce rate has always been very attractive, around 28 to 30%. That's our bounce rate. So I think that speaks a lot about the volume of the content on the website.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
if you also look at the topics on which people have spent most of the time, so you can look at the top, they're very corporate. I mean, they're like the no-brainer, easy things for the corporate people to learn and at the same time have fun while reading. So you look at the quality of the content. That's also talks scores about our website, the kind of content we post.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Like it's
Keywords.
mostly related to business. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And keywords. I know you're not buying any, so I mean these are just keywords, obviously that it's organically ranking for. Like everyone, it's not provided. The vast majority. Is your site responsive?
Yes, it's 100% responsive, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Vast majority is on desktop. Why would you say that's the case?
Because we haven't lost the app version. We already have the app ready. So in fact,
Mm-hmm.
the buyer, if he is looking forward to buy Business World, we can give him the APK version of the Android app that we have prepared. We haven't launched it, but yes, we'll be happy to give, the Android, the APK file to the buyer. So we haven't focused much on mobile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, doesn't look like you've done much with backlinking. Have you done any link exchanges?
Not at all. See, backlinking comes as a part of, off-page SEO. To be very honest, right from day one, we have done little, or I will say almost nothing in terms of SEO. So we have developed good content. We have marketed the content organically on social media. That has been our whole sole objective. So we haven't done a lot on SEO. So these backlinkings and all these comes as a part of off-page SEO. So off-page SEO. So once we are not an SEO, there's no point in talking about off-page SEO. So naturally, backlinking is something which we have never bothered about. And the biggest problem in terms of backlinking is once we have so much content, so there are so many URLs. So somehow there is a very fair chance that if you don't control things properly, you may be down with Google Penguin. So Google Penguin algorithm may hit you. So why take that kind of risk when I see that I have plethora of opportunities to generate traffic through social media.
Sure. Well, that makes sense, and this isn't really relevant as far as the backlinks go. You don't do much. This is SEMrush, which anyone, the majority of the conversation is going to be in the admin section as far as day-to-day operations. So I want to make sure we invest enough time there.
Sure.
The yeah, SEMrush, as far as if you were to pay for traffic, not
Yeah, so you
really.
can see SEMrush clearly demonstrate that we have paid nothing for the traffic, isn't it?
Well, right, and right, that's part of it. So that's good. Um, and then just naturally occurring or organically occurring keywords, which have to do obviously with the topics you discuss. Um, Backlinks, more backlinks. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Anyone listening, if we have a signed NDA from you, and after a few discussions, there would be the availability to look a bit more into Google Analytics, but obviously we need to go down the road a little bit with that in order to allow that. As mentioned, Saswata and Prashant, obviously if you don't have new content, you're not going to have many uniques and visitors, period. But since then, it's been remarkably stable, in and about the 500 range. And I would imagine a lot of this in November, maybe just a content issue again.
And one more thing I would like to add, Adam, I'll just like to add one more point. So right now, you can take on an average every week, we have at least 5 requests for people, who want to write content on our website for free of cost, of course. In return, they just want to have their name mentioned on the website. So it's something like, Business World, they're taking it as a very standardized platform. College student, college from very good MBA colleges, student from very good universities, they are more than happy. So those details and everything we can share in a zip file. I can give you the contact details of maybe more than 300 people who have submitted content on us, or regularly they submit 1 or 2 content every month. We have an agreement that we sign with the content writer because we don't take any charge from them. So we have an agreement that we sign that they have to follow a frequency. So that also came into picture once the website got famous by March, April. So that also came into picture. So naturally for content, we didn't have to depend completely on our content writers.
Okay. Thank you for that. The views are essentially a mirror image of the uniques, which stands to reason. Okay, so Prashant and Seswata, this is where, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10. Spend a minute or less on each screen, each of these admin slides. Let's start off. What's the site built on? And then just key off on what we're looking at right now. And then when you're done talking, we've got 10 slides to get through. We want to make sure we also have some time for the remaining.
Sure.
Let us know what we're looking at here. When you're done talking about it, just say next, because I'm going to be on mute. Just say next, and I'll advance it like that. So what's the site built on, and what are we looking at?
So what you're looking is WordPress. So this is the admin console of WordPress. The site is based on WordPress, and we have our own theme, which we have customized on WordPress. This is just the interface that you see the moment when you log in using admin ID. This is the interface. You can log in as per admin ID. You can give IDs to different people. You don't have to have all the content writers coming back to you and pasting the content. They can log in using their ID. So this is what you see the moment when you log in. This is what you see. Next, please. Okay. So similarly here you can see this is the media library. So every page, wherein we put the content, suppose we have written an article. So we have given some images. So under the media library, you have all the images under one banner. So suppose you want to use an image for a different post, you can just select it from here. Next, please. Okay. Now these are the people, who contribute articles on a website. Not more than 3 of them are paid ones, who are our content writers. Apart from them, rest of them are the ones who have contributed voluntarily, they have come to us that they're looking forward to contribute articles. Next, please. Yeah. So these are the commenting sections. Initially, we have moderated the commenting section because, a lot of people use the commenting section on your website to generate backlinks, follow, no follow backlinks. So naturally, and they spam, they spam the blog post. So naturally, so comments, we had moderated it. So your moderator, your administrator, you can log in, you can see the comments, and what are relevant comments, you can pass them so that they can display on the website, and the others you can stop them. We also have a plugin which takes care that the comments do not spam the website. Next, please. So these are the names of the plugins which we use. For example, Akismet, this is the plugin which we use to filter the spam content, the spam comments. Similarly, you have the other comments, broken link checker. So these are the these are the plugins which we use. These are standard plugins. Like them, there are many plugins which are available on WordPress. So it's totally one's prerogative how exactly which all plugins he wants to use. Next, please. This is an option where you can edit posts. Suppose you have posted and then you want to edit in future, you can edit. Now you can give a different URL compared to the name of the blog post. Suppose, for example, the name of the blog post is how to leverage your self-image to succeed in business. Now you don't want this complete name to come in the URL. You can just select the URL. You can see that option is there. And in fact, on the right hand side, you can see the basic on-page SEO. We have our plugin which takes care of the basic on-page SEO. For example, what is the content density, keyword density, what is it, what is the SEO score? So basic plugins which are there in WordPress, this is what we have used, and this is something which I'm sure anyone who has been familiar with WordPress can explain this very easily. Next, please. I think this is the same thing. Next, please. Yeah, so this is again the plugins. We have come again to the same page. So plugins, right now, all the plugins that we are using, they're all free ones. We haven't used even a single plugin which are paid. But yes, you can use the paid plugins too. They come very cheap. If one wants to use it, you can use it. Next, please. So just I told you, for example, WordPress Spam Shield. So this is again another plugin. It is clearly showing that it has blocked 2876 spam. So roughly it's 7 spam a day. So the guy, who is looking forward to buy the website, you need to understand the moment you get in the market, the moment you get famous, you will have 10 people who will be looking forward to spam you. So you have to be very cautious with the interface of WordPress. It's very handy, but then you need to be very cautious. You need to use right plugins to make sure that you balance the website properly. Next, please. So these are the settings option, these are just to customize the website. Next, please. Yeah.
Okay, you were very efficient there. I appreciate it. We had some questions come in, and you addressed them proactively. WordPress is a very easy environment for most people, so it's reasonably self-explanatory. Revenue, let's talk about, and it's obviously in the prospectus as well as the listing. Tell us presently, how does the site make revenue, and why the why the great month in August?
Yeah, the great month in August, because at that time we got a mandate from from an advertising company, from a media planner company here in India, and at that time, Suzuki had launched a very good car in India, and that car is Maruti Suzuki Ciaz. So as I told you, that Business Wolf is the right place for marketing. If you have a product where you want to market the product to corporate, Business Wolf happens to be the fine place. So that is the reason, we got a big deal for 3 months. It was a very good sponsorship that we got from, from that media planning agency where we are supposed to market Maruti Ciaz. So revenue, of course, as I told you, that we want to keep this as a premium place. For the new buyer, it's totally fine how he wants to go ahead. He can go for Google AdSense. He can go for different ad networks. We didn't want to go for that way, although we have compromised a bit on revenue. We didn't want to go on that way. We wanted to keep it as a premium place where we can generate revenue from sponsorship. So we don't believe in the CPM model. We rather prefer to go for the sponsorship model. We saw it's easier to convince a company on the sponsorship model. So sponsorship model, that is one form of revenue that we get. The other revenue is from the sponsored post. For example, Xiaomi, we have some, we had some sponsored codes for good brands. I think for most of the brands, I cannot name them, but we has one brand where we didn't sign any kind of agreement. That Xiaomi, for them, we did do it. the content, the sponsored content that was put on the website, wherein in some way we try to do the ORM for those products.
Yes.
That's the online reputation management. So revenue, yes, this is how we have moved in.
Okay, thank you. Expenses are, I know a lot of them are the employees that you have, and then obviously hosting, you're not paying for traffic. Is that really it, what we're talking about?
Yes, correct. So we are not paying anything for traffic. For hosting, of course, the expense is very less. I'm sure the buyer can see the details in the prospectus. It's very less. Right now, we have a VPS. It's a virtual private server. It's not a dedicated server. We intended that once we cross 25,000 daily traffic, we will go for a dedicated server. Right now, we have a good VPS, which is hosted by DreamHost, a company based out in US. It's hosted in the server in US, and it's performing very well. The most of the expenses that comes in is for content development and slightly for content marketing.
Okay. Now, with this slide, your skill set is much better with certain things than mine, and then vice versa. So the best way of answering this question is kind of spend 30 seconds as to what skill set you brought into the site in making it or in getting it off the ground, and what you've learned since then, and then go into what's required day to day.
Okay, so we need right now we need three guys. We need content writer, and then we need one supervisor, and then you can take there is one guy which is needed for content marketing. So on an average, they have to work for 8 hours a day. That's full time that they have to work. So this is the requirement for the hourly work schedule, hourly work schedule that is required every day in terms of man hours.
Okay.
And it is just another five-day work week.
5
Yeah,
days.
it's 5 days of work week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. If you were to keep the site, spend a couple minutes discussing what you would do in order to grow the site, please.
Yes, as I had mentioned earlier, our plan was that we would first establish things on a pilot style. So our pilot establishes on our focus in India. So on India, we had thought that once we reach 50,000 daily visitors, 1 lakh daily page views, after that, we are going to expand for the different versions of the website. A US edition, a Europe edition, a China edition. So that was the plan. That is the plan. Yes. So same thing can be, marketing in India is a bit difficult because you don't have many internet users. Internet is growing, internet is just, it's considered as a luxury right now in India. Less than 1% of the population has internet connection, and that's too not very much stable. So once we have established a prototype in India, I thoroughly believe expanding in different regions will be much easier compared to that in India.
Okay. Pretty straightforward question. Why are you selling?
There are many reasons to sell the website. To be very honest, one of the most important reason is, yes, I have to clear a debt, and that debt happens to be a bailout, bailout for me for one of the different projects that I'm working for. So, this part I would like to keep it a lot subjective, and until unless it's not that necessary, I would like to keep it very concise. So that's the reason for selling the website. Yes.
Okay, that's clear. Okay. Prashant and Siswata, you've done a great job. I've weaved in some questions that come in, but just the way you were discussing it, you really just, there's a saying, just the facts. So, I mean, you did that. So I appreciate that. This is the last call for questions. Anyone listening live, please send it over via the chat functionality. Should you have any remaining questions, I'm going to be advancing now to my information, and that's the end of the open house. Before I do that, I want to make sure that everybody knows that a recording of this will be up on Latona's no later than 24 hours from now. You can refer to it and refer back to it. A prospectus is available. Also, the seller Prashant and Siswata provided some good material.
Jeff, Jeff, sorry to interrupt. Here, Prashant is the 100% owner of the website. I think it's mentioned in the question and answer. I'm just another associate of Prashant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I appreciate
He's the
that.
100% owner.
So,
Yeah.
again, Prashant's the only owner, but both Seswata and Prashant have supplied some good information as it relates to the prospectus. So it's pretty involved. So if anyone listening wants that, request a prospectus. I'll make sure you have an NDA in file. If not, I'll send you one. This is me. That's my phone number. That's my email, and that's my Skype. Um, Anyone who's going to be in Las Vegas for the affiliate summit, I'll be there the 8th of January, so in a couple, Friday actually. From Friday to Wednesday, come look me up. We're advertising there, and I can definitely talk to you about businesswolf.org. Prashant Seswata, you've done an excellent job. I appreciate it. I don't see any of the questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and end it, and I will be in touch. You did a great job.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you
The
both.
only
Thank
thing
you
I'd
so
like
much.
to tell, to the prospective buyer who will be watching the recording, I'm sure
Uh-huh.
that we'll be there for all kind of support. I do understand this is, one thing I would like to say that this is not a web directory where you have created a directory and you're having some 1,000, 2,000 videos coming every day. This is big. This is big. What we have done is nothing more than 5% of what can be achieved in the next 1.5 years. So we are there for technical training. If you're not very profound in terms of content marketing, as we have mentioned in the prospectus, we can give 3 to 5 days, 7 days training, which I can make you very competent on that. And of course, we are there for developing relations. So this deal is not about a hardcore concrete business. It's about development of a healthy relation between me, Adam, and of course the buyer. So we are always there for all kind of supports. Everything is genuine. There is no doubt in that. What kind of due diligence you want to do, you can have it done. We are always very happy to support on that. And yes, as far as guidance is concerned, we are always there as mentor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for mentioning that. And I do appreciate both your time, and I'll be in touch soon.
Sure. Thanks,
Take care.
Adam. Thank you so much.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you, Adam.